I was just sitting around the other day, and I came up with an idea for just something in the potential. When you really are like planning out like ideas for like, okay, what do I want to kind of just like formulate on what could happen in the future? Because right now we've got a lot going on with all the stuff with Alderaan and all of this God seeds and whatnot, but I I have some suspicions that I think Celine is also going to be have like a lot of more. I want to say more like character involvement when it comes to a lot of things. You know, like when it comes to like a lot of what her arc I think is going to be like. I think it's going to come down to a lot more of the personal character like backstories and probably push some of these stories forward. There's one thing though with Celine, I think has high possibility, and I think it's either going to go towards Kana because I've mentioned that the explanation of how Moondragon abilities work seems to function very similar to how Fairy Glitter works, and Kana being like involved again at the moment makes me think maybe she's going to have like a bigger role in the future for the 100 Years Quest. And the other one I think would be Jellal, because obviously Jellal's magic, he primarily uses heavenly body magic, obviously do stuff with like space and astral constellations and whatnot. That if somebody ended up becoming a dragon slayer like next in the line, I could see it being him. With Kana, I think it would have to depend on whether or not Celine would take maybe some interest in her. There had to be something kind of weird there, because if she understands essentially like how Fairy Glitter works, she could probably kind of get the basics of how like Moondragon abilities work. But with Jellal, there's been some of the still other questions of like how exactly fifth generation dragon slaying magic entirely works. I think the fact that it has to stem out of eating the dragons to really kind of like get the base like layout of it. So I think that one of the ways that it has like very fundamentally constructed is from the fact that they eat dragons, not from that just being a perk, dude. I think that to be a fifth generation dragon slayer, you have to intake dragon flesh to kind of like integrate its like DNA into you, because Slayer magic in the easiest description of it is you're altering your own body composition, your DNA and your genetics to be like that of the species that your magic is kind of just like emulating off of. And very easily, like I think in the idea for fifth generation dragon slaying magic, I think partially one of the reasons that they like, for instance, they don't get motion sick, and we know that the reason that dragon slayers become motion sick is because of like it's like a sensory overload that makes it so they have trouble kind of just like staying up, because their dragon senses get overwhelmed in the human sized body with the movement of stuff like vehicles. Well, now that's why it seems to be. I don't think it's ever been fully described, fully stated, but it's been shown that it doesn't work when it comes to animals. Like Natsu can ride animals, and it doesn't cause him issues with motion sickness, but like trains and boats and stuff obviously do. So I think that one of the reasons why fifth generation dragon slayers don't suffer from that is because their senses, as like getting their dragon senses, are kind of like integrated differently. Like theirs kind of form at a different rate. And I think one of the things that supports this is that their dragon force just seems to be super fast dragon force. Like they high accelerate like in the transformation to becoming dragons, but they lose control in the process. And it would make 100% sense for one to keep Jellal relevant, to keep it, give Jellal something to increase like his capabilities. We already got Laxus with his Red Lightning Dragon mode, and Jellal hasn't got anything new, at least since the time skip, so it would be something for him. But plus, I'd like finally for the Jellal Laxus rivalry to really kind of get more pushed off, because that's always been like a fan based rivalry we've always had within the Fairytale community. Is like when you really think about which character would kind of be the opposition person for Jellal, I think it would be Laxus, and I think Hiroshima noted that a bit earlier in 100 Years Quest when they faced off, just that had a little bit of a flex moment. But with this, it would really depend on the situation. Like if there was something set up to where Jellal would have to like consume a dragon, whether it would be maybe like part of Celine, like maybe like they're fighting Celine and she gets hurt and like maybe they manage to cut off one of her fingers or something, and Jellal is just like in a spot where he needs to figure out something to do, and he knows that like maybe he finds out like how fifth generation dragon slaying magic works, and then he just like consumes it and ends up taking on it to like do like maybe something's gonna happen with Urza or something. I could see it as a possibility also because the idea of with Urza is I think a lot of people have the suspicion that Irene will have some form of interactions with Celine, and it would make sense if she tried to like mess with Urza for to try and get at Irene. It would do a lot, but obviously doing anything to Urza is gonna piss off Jellal. So we'll see. It's just it's a little fun theory I have right now. Just I was thinking the other day, and I was like, man, that'd be really cool too, because it would buff Jellal, but it also like in the idea of like he's a space dragon, like an astral dragon, that would be really sick. And I mean, all you really got to do in order to get that idea is like take Jellal's spells he's got already, just his heavenly body spells, and you're just tagging on a dragon aspect to him. And you could do a lot of really cool stuff with it. Like imagine him like with Dragon Force, and you could do a lot of like neat stuff. Well, also like it's also not outside of like Hiromishima's realm already. If you've ever read the Monster Hunter series he did, the elder dragon that they were hunting, the Miogaluna, actually was kind of like it wasn't like a dragon from space, but it was very themed of like the night sky. Like it had this its whole like underbelly looked like a starry night sky, and I'm hoping like that would be really cool if it carried in Jellal, because you imagine Jellal with like if he had dragon wings and stuff, but like instead of just like drawing like webbing between like parts of the dragon wings, it looked like the night sky or like space. That'd be super badass. That'd be really sick visuals, and at the same time just really cool to see like Jellal get that far. But on top of that, you'd know that it would be more of like a sacrificial character thing if he was willing to give up being kind of human in order to save like Urza in a situation. Well, this would be really cool because it would relate towards kind of like with Irene, how Irene became a dragon in order to protect her unborn baby, that being Urza, and then Jellal kind of doing a similar thing in order to protect Urza. I think that'd be really cool, and that would kind of like really round out Urza's tale into this almost out of, I don't want to say ironic kind of like spin, but more of just like more like a callback and just like the reference to it. It'd be really cool. I mean, Jellal's also just, we know that a lot of people in the fan base they either like Jellal or they really hate Jellal. Like he's got kind of like a weird situation, kind of like William from Black Clover, where either you love him or you just can't stand the sight of him. I feel like more people like Jellal now in this series than hate him. Anyway, other than that, comment below. Tell me your thoughts are about this and like how you would react to this if Jellal got to become like a 6th space dragon slayer. I mean, that'd be really cool. Plus, if we'd get to see like how exactly one becomes a 5th generation dragon slayer, which I think would be neat. But other than that, comment below. That was the video. From the like button, subscribe button, check out my other videos. But other than that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.